We are happy to have with us Shri Mahabir. And yeah, Shri has been a connection of mine on LinkedIn for a little bit now. And I am happy to talk with her today. So I would love for her to start off our conversation by introducing herself, tell us who she is and what she is about. Take it away, Shri.
Hi, my name is Shri, and I help solopreneurs get comfortable in front of the camera so that they can do videos, live streaming, and be able to gain visibility, get quality inbound leads, and close clients. Now, a little bit of fun fact about me is I do have a daughter who's in college, and she is the total opposite. She doesn't like being in front of the camera. She doesn't like, being able to share her story and her journey with others, but we are working on that for sure.
It's that's an interesting thing that you should mention, that you often talk about your daughter. As a matter of fact, you post a lot of pictures with her.
Yeah.
So I did a poll on LinkedIn today asking if family businesses are dead. And I suspect that you expect your business to blow up, right?
Right.
And you have said that you want to leave behind a legacy for your daughter. So would you want her to be in your line of business, or would you want her to do something else?
So, like after talking to so many entrepreneurs on Instagram, because that's really where the whole journey began.
Oh, is it me, or is it? Let me see. Let me check on Instagram. I'm not hearing Shri, so I'm gonna assume that it's me. I hope she's still on, or she just got frozen there. Oh, she just dropped off. So we're gonna continue with it until she jumps back on. I think she may be having some internet connectivity problems. Why am I saying it like that? It just reminds me of Parks and Recreation, with the question of the somebody go look that up. Internet connectivity problems on Park and Recreation. It's really funny. But in the meantime, while Shri will jump back on, I'm sure, and shortly, let me show you some of her content. Oh, so Shri is back on. Let me just join her back into the show. 3, 2, 1, and she is back. Shri went backstage for a while to just check to make sure everything was right. She's back on stage right now, and she was just about to talk about her journey on doing interviews. Yes, I think that's what it was.
So something I learned about doing Instagram lives is always have a backup plan. So my hotspot wasn't showing, it was just in case that the internet decided to go off. I had the hotspot, but the hotspot wasn't even coming. So I was like, okay, trust me, after doing about 130 IG lives, you learn live streaming can come with lots of surprises, but it's how you bounce back, how you handle the situation. And when I started this journey, I would used to panic. I'd be like, oh my God, what do I do? Now it's just like, okay, this didn't work. What do we got to do? This didn't work. Let's just keep it rolling. And so along this journey, my daughter has watched me get better from day one to now. I mean, all you got to do is take one step. Are you going to be perfect? No. And you just continue. If I was to carry this for my daughter, one thing I want is for her to be comfortable to share her journey, for her to be able to do video, because, the future is video. People want to connect. They want to know who and what you're about before they do business with you. It's besides reading the reviews, hearing the testimonies, they want to know what it's like because you're touching those five senses. And so video does that. And so if I was to carry one part of the business is just for her to be comfortable getting in front of the camera. As far as doing a business, maybe she's not going to want to do this, but she might be interested in doing something else. And all this knowledge that I'm gaining just from my experience of this journey is what I'm going to transfer over to her.
Yeah, that's so important. I want to answer that question. I want to respond to that, but before I do that, let me just acknowledge Tamara Monlouis on LinkedIn saying hello. She's saying what's up, and she
What's
actually
up?
said when when you dropped off, she said she's back. She's back. So now, yeah. So Tamara, good looking out. Thank you so much for being there. And Tamara is also throwing up a bulb. She knows the culture of the Useful Content Creation show. All right, let me speak to what you've said. I mean, it's interesting. And one of the persons who responded, wow, somebody who's gonna be on the useful content creation show in the near future. I think next week maybe, as one of my connections called Ross, and he spoke about the values and giving your kids those values. So they might not take up the business, but the knowledge, the know-how, the understanding of how to be in business, the integrity, the discipline, and all those different values that you will carry, you can give those things to them so that even if they don't go into the same line of business, they have those things. So what do you think about that? Is that right?
I totally believe it. I mean, my daughter, she decided that when she was going to high school, because I was looking for other alternative high schools for her to go to challenge her, she chose, I want to go to this one, which was International Business and Marketing. So the opportunities that she was open to, I took advantage. It was an entrepreneurship camp. Then came the opportunity to get an internship where she worked at Banana Republic. That was her first job. And and also the opportunity to be able to learn how to network, how to pitch, how to just do her resume, just to even in her senior year of high school, she was able to be part of a startup. There was a group of kids and they had to come up with an idea and they had a mentor. So she was working with the group and they came up with the app and they had to pitch it in front of investors. So this is, I will say, like, I learned a lot from her experience and she learned a lot. And especially the lives helped her because these are entrepreneurs who are out there, who are doing it, who are grinding just like yourself, Juma, who are giving those nuggets, those gems. And she was like, Mom, you remember this guy or this girl? Remember when she said this or he said this? You should try that, Mom. So yes, I totally, totally am about we work as one unit, not separate units.
Yeah, kids are great like that. They show you things that you don't know. Yeah, you get to discover things about yourself that it's like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know I was like that. I could learn that. And the older they get, the more they teach you. Apparently,
Oh
so,
yes.
so I've learned. Yeah, so that's great. That's good stuff. Let me recognize Daya, who is a friend of the show and part of the useful content community on Facebook. He's saying it's his favorite Saturday morning LinkedIn show. Thank you, Daya. We appreciate that. I appreciate that, Daya. Oh, let me add Shree's name. Your name is not even on.
It's okay. I
Let me
mean,
drop
my name is Shri.
let me drop that in right there, down on the
I would
bottom.
love to connect with you.
Yes, 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 yes. And yeah, Tamara's saying on LinkedIn, she's saying building a strong foundation. Yeah, she loves that. Yeah, so Shri, I know that you said you've done 130, is it now? Over 100 and yeah, 30. Is it live shows or is it interviews? Is there a difference?
Well, live streaming show. So I have 120 plus of
Mm-hmm.
interviewing entrepreneurs. And
Mm-hmm.
then out of that are just individual by myself. Or I was on a live where I was either coaching somebody or I was actually it would be a little bit more than 130, but there was coaching moments. There was just allowing people the visibility to share their story, their journey. So
Mm-hmm.
just like Daya mentioned, you are his favorite live streaming show. I actually did a poll about that. And to
Oh, I remember
say,
that poll. I voted.
because people, you'll be surprised how live streaming is becoming more and more popular. We are turned like today, if you are here every Saturday tuning into this fabulous host, Juma, it's because you drew to him. There's something captivating. His Thursday show just captivates me because I learned something, and it's like at a time where I can sit down and I can enjoy. So we and you're not like Oprah Winfrey or Grant Cardone, but we're consistently coming on showing who we are. So the thought is, if these individuals who are not an Oprah or Grant, why can't I do it? And
Mhm.
what is stopping me from doing it? And so to say that, I do have a live stream, it's a show, but at the same time, it's also teaching me, it's helping others because
Mm,
have been other people because of my lives. They went ahead and started their own business or started doing live shows.
mm. Really? So have you? So what have people reported back to you? What? How was? How is that? You said because of they have seen you do it, so they feel confident that they can do it, and they have actually attempted to do it. So, do you have any data on that? Any follow up? Any? I would love to know
Yes.
more about that. Let me know.
So there's a follower, her name is Tulsi, and she talks about stocks and tradings. And she found me when I interviewed a financial investor. And then she was like, ooh, I like how this girl keeps showing up. I like how she brings these different entrepreneurs. And then she would tune in and she would get tips. And then one time I even challenged her and I said, you just come on live, just ask me a few questions and then jump off. I don't care. Just do it. And she did it. And next thing I know, I'm seeing her doing all these lives. And in the I jump on when I can. She's also in Australia, but in the
Oh,
DM, she's like, because of you, Shri, because of you, you come and you show. You don't even care. You fumble on words. You mess up. Your lighting sometimes is off, but you're still there, and that just gives me hope that no matter what, I still can do this. And so, yes, and that's just one person. Another person is a very good friend of mine. She was still like hesitant about what can she do for others, what value can she bring, and now she has a business that's doing really really well, and it's because of lives. And she still comes in and says, Shri, can you help me come up with some strategies, some ideas of how I can make this live even better.
mm-mm. That's excellent. So I know that the one person who mentored you and changed your life in the social media space and has basically given you encouragement and is kind of partially responsible for where you are now is Anya. Um, yeah. Should everyone look for a mentor when they are becoming a content creator, you think?
I agree. I think even just in business, you need a mentor. Like, Juma, I want to ask you, who's your mentor?
I have tons of mentors. I have tons. I have tons. So my old boss. Well, I can't go down the entire list. So there are core people inside of my circle who I refer to all the time. But in terms of business wise, one of my main mentors was my old boss from where I used to work. And a lot of the philosophies that I learned from him now exist inside of my business. I quote him all the time. His name is Ronald Hines, and one of the quotes I quote from him all the time is "It suddenly takes a long time," which essentially means that people don't see the process; they see the outcome. So you focus on the process. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it started with Anya, and then it grew into I have others, and now I have Shanae. But it really did start. And what I also learned is, in order to really see to get that personalized, you got to pay to play. Like, I know that some of you might be like, well, how can I do that? Find somebody who you can work with. There's Clubhouse, there's their live streams, and there will be an opportunity where they drop their prices. And
Oh, oopsie daisy. The internet. Hey, no worries, no worries. Okay, she is coming back on. Let me show you in the stream again. 3, 2, 1, contact.
I promise this time it wasn't my internet. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. You're talking about mentorship and being able to get somebody you know who can help you.
Within your community, just like Juma, he went in within his own community. He asked his boss or somebody that are people in your own community, entrepreneurs that are wanting to just share their knowledge. There's enough people. You don't have to pay right away, but it leads, whatever you get, it will lead to where when you invest in yourself, that return is huge. I've learned through time that investments are not just in stocks or assets. You are an investment. So
Mm,
setting aside a little bit of money as time goes and investing in yourself, those returns come back. Like, just I'll be honest. I feel like I'm not doing enough, but then I look back and I'm like, maybe I'm just not change the way that you're saying a message. What
mm,
are other things that I could try to help me in my business? How
mm.
about trying and adding Clubhouse to my routine? I mean, these are just things, but it's because I was talking to people who were giving me this feedback that I was like, okay, maybe I should implement this. And here we are today.
Right, 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 right. I get you. I get you. So you have to search the thing out, basically. Yeah, you have to search the people out. And I know sometimes, so Mark Schaefer says in one of his books, in the cumulative advantage, he says you got to reach out and reach up, and
Hmm.
find people who can essentially teach you things that you don't know, things that you need to know in order to grow your business. It's an interesting thing. Everybody needs mentors, in my opinion. Personally, I
They
find that
do.
it's very true. All right, so it's the name of your business is next with a T, Level
Yes.
Consulting.
Next
Right,
level consulting.
next level consulting, and you started your business just over 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yes.
So what's the story behind your beginnings? I know we were supposed to talk about this earlier. What's the story behind your beginnings?
So the beginning started with my daughter's father had passed away, which is my ex. And I was like, okay, he didn't leave anything behind, and life is precious. Here I am thinking, I want to start a business. I want to start a business. And when he passed away, I was like, okay, he was only 39 when he passed away. So I was just like, or 38. So he was really young. And here we are, I was just like, okay, life is going to change within a second. What am I waiting for? And so even at the time during when I still work at 9 to 5, but we were having layoffs. I was like, okay, I need to find something and create it. And if anything was to happen, I would have that. And that's where the journey began was it was administrative services because this is, I'm really good at it. However, when I was going out there, reaching out to people, talking to people, a lot of questions came up that I was like, oh man, I did not think of this. And then came testimonies. People were like, you need testimonies. This is how you're going to get more business. And then it was like, placed on my heart, hear their journey. So fast forward to April 2020, that's when the journey of an entrepreneur came, where I'm interviewing entrepreneurs to understand what should I be doing, but asking in such a way that other people could also learn from. And then it turned into just I was helping. These are same entrepreneurs who had been doing business for so long and they'd never done video, never did a live stream. And I'm coaching them to go from one session to next thing you know, they're doing live streams and they're now doing videos and the feedback. I even have that in testimonies that they say and share because it's about giving your client, your ideal client, an opportunity to get to know you in a different light. You're just not about the business. They get to see you about the person who has this, if you're a mother or father, your children. Then they get to hear about the goals and dreams that you have. Then there's the aspect of, okay, getting the expert advice because you know what you're doing. So I realized after 100 lives, I was like, working with my mentor that she said, you've been working in your purpose, you just didn't realize it. Turn that into a business. And so that began the what I do with coaching solopreneurs to have the courage to come in front of the camera
Mm.
started in June. But I have been doing this the whole time. And that's like 1 year and 2 months later, here I am. I'm like, okay, now here's the business. This is what I can do for you. Let's roll.
Mm, mm. So I guess the thing is that so you're saying that this is even though this is not your full time, um, and I guess people who start off business like this, do you think that eventually it might be a full time?
I believe that some people out there can manage a 9 to 5 and do this on the side. I believe that some people have every intention to leave their 9 to 5. It's really up to the individual. But I
Mm,
do say this I have what I've learned just in this journey, I apply it into my 9 to 5. And what I learned in my 9 to 5, I apply into my business because they mesh a lot of times, especially with dealing with, when it comes to finances or marketing or even testing out something. Well, let me see if this would work with this group, even though I'm not trying to sell them in the 9 to 5, I'm not selling them my services. I'm understanding the power of an email sequence in terms of like an event that I coordinated, the power that it had. And even just simple things like, okay, what if I change the wording in the heading? How will they react to an email? So just because you have a 9 to 5, make sure you use that. Sometimes you could test out things. You could create your course there that will eventually be something you sell to the public. Does that
Mm.
make sense?
Yeah. So I think in Trinidad, and by the way, you were not born in Trinidad and Tobago, but you have Trinidad and Tobago ties. Just letting everybody know, represent. Um, yeah, I think in Trinidad and Tobago, just yesterday, just this week, I was talking to my business partner in there about it, and we call it like private jobs, like PJs. You get those things and you do them, and so often people think about it as individual pockets of small income as opposed to building out a business over a period of time. But I think part of the mentality you need is that if you're going to put effort into this thing that you're doing, you might as well do it properly, and you might as well put structure in it in a way that, if put chance, you have to give it the space and the kind of opportunity to be something else if it should be, and and I don't know what stage you're at with that, but I could see from the progress that you definitely like have seen it grow. Yes.
Yes, I mean, and I will say, like, I wouldn't walk away from my 9 to 5. I mean, if they were to watch this, I wouldn't walk away right away. Like, I want to structure out what I'm doing, even if it continues to be just something that is on the side. I still want. I'm very big on structure and detail and systems and operations. That's just who I am. Within
Mm.
even the live series, there is a structure. There is an operation from the point that you ask me to go. I mean, it became that people are asking me to go live. There is you get there's an also a sequence of reminding you that you're going live with me, uploading your picture, to the point where we go and we have a call before we go live. Then we go live a few days later. Like, there's this process that I created because things were just going crazy. And I was like, we're not doing that. We're going to make it simple. Everybody's going to, and it turns out a lot of people love that even before the live, because on Instagram, things get real hairy like it is right now. And there's just a few messages, few tips that I send to them right like 1 hour before. And you'll be surprised how many, regardless of how many reminders they've been told about this live, it really does. They're like, okay, I'm going to find a place and I'm going to sit down. Or thank you for this tip. It made such a big difference. And it's just because of things that I've learned along the way. So there is a system and process. I may not come off like that, but there really is.
No, I suspect there is. I suspect there is. And you know, the funny thing, on my Saturday show is a lot more relaxed than my Thursday show. So you, even though you did, because you to be on the show, you fill out the form and all that drama. And did you get the text reminder or no?
Mm.
You didn't sign up for that? Okay. Well, it's supposed to be a text reminder. It's supposed to be a whole process. But then you didn't go through the entire thing. So I suspect that you have systems as well that you kind of like say, no, if I don't do this properly, I'm gonna miss dates and I'm gonna do stuff. So are you saying, as for somebody who wants to do any video production or jump on live, that the systems are really very important?
Yes, if you want to have something that's going to be weekly and that this is part of your business strategy, I definitely say create a system for it. It makes your job so much easier. Now you could do pop-up lives. Like, I am waiting for Juma to do a pop-up live. I'm just saying.
I've done a couple.
I have not seen it. I'll only see these scheduled ones. I mean, it would be nice to do a pop up, just like, hey, everybody, this is Juma. And I just wanted to share one quick tip about lighting. You want to make sure that if you're standing underneath the light, that the darkness will show. But if you start to come back, step back, then you realize. Now, is there anybody that has a question? I would love to hear, and that could be your coaching moment. This is just an example of what you could do on pop up lives, and that also gives you a test of what is your audience looking for, because many times we do polls, we ask them what they're looking for and they're not able to share. But what if you do a pop-up live? You're able to find out what are they really looking for, what are the pain points that your clients are facing, and then you can use that data to help you with creating future content, even future lives, and even looking for guests to bring onto your live stream if you do where you're interviewing individuals.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, definitely, definitely. And maybe I might do more of that. You don't know. I like the structure of it because my life is very, very has a lot of moving parts, and having the structure helps me maintain order. And it definitely helps me maintain order. And you don't turn up branded like this by going where we're doing things randomly. But I know I guess I could integrate some of those things into that. That would be cool. I could do it.
Well, who
Uh,
said that pop-up live was not scheduled? Just because it's a pop-up live to us, it's not a pop-up live to you.
True
Remember
that,
that.
true that, true that, true that. Technically, like this live technically doesn't have an exact time. I never
Oh.
advertise it.
Mm-hmm.
People have just learned that on Saturday I turn up. I turn up and have a conversation with somebody. And everybody who's been on the show knows I tell them when I can't say I don't want to say this out loud. I don't want to say the time I tell the people out loud. But I don't want to be held to that time. But I tell people a particular time and usually be on around that time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so this one is not advertised. It has never been advertised as something that happens. Only the people who come on know about it.
And see, that's because you built that momentum, you built that consistency and momentum. But I was just trying to share with those who are thinking about live streaming. Everything can be, I mean, you could do a pop-up live if you wanted to, but even within the pop-up live, you schedule it out, have a few points listed
Mm,
out. Like Juma is here and he has a few questions and we're just talking based, and he's using active listening, just going based off of what I'm saying to ask the next question. Or if you guys have questions, he would ask them. But in your case, if you're thinking like, I don't know how to do seems too hard. No, it's really not. You can just have a few points and you can list out, like, if you are when you talk about beauty, if you're a makeup artist, so what are, the first live could be you have your schedule live, but then your pop-up lives could be just, here's a tip. If you are somebody who's over the age of 40, here are two tips to help you with your makeup routine. And then remember this, and I know Juma probably does this, your stream that you've done can be repurposed and reused on different platforms. So you're not having to reinvent the wheel. What do I got to talk about? What kind of reel should I do? You don't have to sing and dance on TikTok and on Instagram. I don't. My reels, my Instagram, my TikToks are all just videos of me explaining a tip or me telling a story, something to help somebody who's watching so that they can have the confidence to show up.
yeah, yeah,
Back to
most
you, Juma.
definitely. Most definitely. Why is there something in my eye right now? Uh, that's live for you. So let me say hello to Mike Kaya across on LinkedIn, a faithful member of the useful content community with his hashtag. You know Mike Kaya, hashtag UCC Live. Thank you, Mike Kaya, for jumping on and saying hello and throwing up your bulbs here for my conversation with Shri this morning. So, Shri,
Hmm.
so you've done so many live interviews. Um, which one of them was the most memorable?
The one with my daughter.
Oh, what number was that?
I don't remember, but it was, so I had a guest that I booked. I booked my client, not my clients. I booked my guests quite a few months in advance. So this gentleman I had talked to on the phone, or a woman, I'm not going to say, but I talked to this person on the phone. They knew what kind of live that I do. They even jumped onto many of them. And then when it came time to get their picture, they sent me a picture of 300. And I said, is that you dressed up as a character? And they said, no. Then I said, well, for future purposes, I would not want to be held liable for promoting something that's not representing you. Do you mind sending me another picture? And I even gave an example of a picture where the individual sent me. It was really funny, but it was still them. And they ended up canceling on me. So then I asked my daughter, I was like, hey, I would love for you to come up and just ask me a few questions. And so she actually came on and she asked me a bunch of questions that she wrote out and gave some insight because she was I want to say she was a no, it was in November, December. So she's a senior. So she was just talking about her experience. So that's my most memorable live is with her. Although all lives are memorable, like you, Juma, I would love to know which has been your most memorable.
That's a good question. I didn't expect to answer that today. I think my the very very first my very first live was the most memorable. That was with my well, technically it wasn't even live on air with somebody, because what I did is that when I first started out, I did not have live people on live because I wanted to manage that really, really, really well. So it was a recorded conversation that I played live, which was with my sister. So you can see a theme of family developing here. It was with my sister, and she came on, and I said, and me be Trini about it. I said, Gail, I'm gonna jump on this live, yes. You come on, record some women now. And she's like, yeah, I ain't that. And she didn't know the exact words. And she came on, and we recorded it, and then that was my first live. It was interesting, and because I was kind of waiting to get LinkedIn Live for a while, and they finally granted it to me. And it was my first live with someone, even though technically it wasn't my first live. So that was one of my more memorable ones. And the second one that I actually had somebody on live was with Sebastian from LinkedIn, Sebastian Ong. He's a Singaporean living in Zurich. You know him?
I want to say I've seen that name based because of you.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So he was my first live person. He got up at 3 in the morning to be on the live show. So I give him full props, and I thank him for that. And that was good. I've had other memorable ones in between. I've had memorable moments, but I would say in terms of my rating, those are the two that I would put up there because they were first. Let's say hello to Janet Thomas on LinkedIn. She's saying she's enjoying the conversation. Thank you so much, Janet, for being on the live with us today and for commenting. I like when people comment. I like when people say what they like about it. Oh, and then immediately after, we have Franco Ferry, not a content creator myself, but it has been useful. Let me see. It's a useful tool all the same. Great energy too. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Franco. I appreciate that. That's on LinkedIn. I appreciate that as we go along the show here with Shri. So Shri, what are there any questions you regret not asking someone on the show?
Um, no, because I've learned every time to ask questions that one, when you come up with the idea that you're going to do live, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, just think of questions that you want to ask for your business because you'll be surprised how many people are dealing with that. Or if you have a potential client that you are bringing on so they can talk about their business, but then what are the questions that you ask during your discovery call? You can ask those during the live. So it's not that I regret asking those questions. It's just how can I get better with asking questions? How can I
Mm,
draw that person in? And then two, many people just always ask, like, how could this work for me? Well, think about the questions you have. What are you struggling in your business? I guarantee you there's 20 other people that are feeling the same pain that you're feeling. They just don't know who to ask. And here you are with this individual like Juma who knows about video, who knows about lighting, who knows about, the ins and outs. What can you do when your Wi-Fi wants to act a little crazy during a live? These are questions that you can ask. Even during the live, if you guys are watching or you're catching this replay, ask your questions because either myself, well, especially Juma, is going to come back and ask that. And definitely, I will come looking for you if you're looking for a live coach. I will. I will definitely help you out. We actually do a live. I want to ask you this, Juma.
mhm.
Do you do live coachings?
I don't. I don't. I don't. Hey, that's not the core of my business. So even though I do all this stuff, I don't. I don't have the bandwidth to do live coaching.
Okay. So one of the things because I and I understand if you don't have the bandwidth, you don't have the bandwidth. For myself, because I'm helping solopreneurs get comfortable, one of the things we do is going live on Instagram and we do the whole coaching from start to finish. I have a 60-minute intensive, which you can book. That way, you're able to sit there and get that on hand, right then and there coaching. But if you want to learn about strategies, you can definitely book for the same call. Just message me video and we'll go from there.
So I'm gonna throw up Shree's LinkedIn address right here. It's gonna scroll across the bottom. So if anybody wants to get in contact with Shree, they can check her out on LinkedIn. She's also big on Instagram, big on IG, big on IG, and you can check her out across there as well. I don't have the link for that, but I think I'll put it in a little bit later. So you can check out that link scrolling below there and check her out on LinkedIn if you want to get in contact with her for anything. Let me say, Mike Kaya is saying, oh, thank you, Mike Kaya. He's saying that I have his support and he really enjoys the LinkedIn lives. And he's saying, keep doing you, bro. Thanks, man. Hashtag love in the house. That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Mike Kaya, for all your support. You've really been very faithful. And I want to reward my community for being so faithful. There are a few people like, yeah, you've been around. You've been around. I want to give them something special. So I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about the end of the season of the show and what I'm going to do for them. So
well, I can't wait because I would love to be able to promote it for you. You let me know. I'm like, Juma's giving away something.
yeah, well, it's only to a few people. It's not to everyone. If you want to get some stuff, you got to put in the work, man. You got to
Okay.
turn up and you got to throw some bulbs up on hashtag UCC Live. But the people who I have with me, they've been very, very excellent supporters of the live show. Some of them feel bad even when they don't make it. Oh, I wasn't able to make it. Say, don't worry about it. Everybody has a life. They have stuff to do, But the community is great, and it's a few people, but they're very, you rather have a few dedicated people than a ton of people who are not dedicated. So, yeah. I was going to ask you. All right, so part of your role as a video coach, we're talking about your coaching, right? Is as making people comfortable with video. So based on your experience, no, okay, let me interject as well. Some time ago I did a poll, just like you've done polls. I've done polls as well. I usually run polls on Saturday. One of my earlier poll asked what is stopping people from doing video, which is like a general poll people do from time to time. The questions were, I'm self-conscious, I don't know what to say, I don't have the gear, and of course video is overrated, which somebody could think that. The highest, 36% of the people said, I don't know what to say. Based on your experience, what have you found has been the biggest problem, the thing that makes people most uncomfortable about video?
I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. I have a skin condition, which I do. I actually have psoriasis, but I wear makeup. And that's just because, and I'll get into why I wear the makeup. The other one is I don't have value. I don't have a story. So it all comes back to what you were saying, I don't know what to share, but it could be something deeper than that. And it was just easier to answer. So when I ask, I'm like, what's really the reason? And then they start getting deep into it. And it's really just it's these things that we think other people think about us. Like they'll say, I am an introvert. Who said you were an introvert? I don't have a story. Who said you didn't have a story? I don't have value. Who said you didn't have value? I don't have anything to share. Who said you don't have anything to share? Like these are things you have to come back and ask, who is saying that? We all have something to share. We all have something of value to give. Even myself, if you were to ask me this question a few months ago, what's your biggest obstacle? It is realizing my value. And I realized that was holding me back because I've cried like 2 times on live. And that's another thing. Like, I don't want to get too vulnerable. I cried a few weeks ago because my daughter went off to college and she played a huge role in my life. And now I'm an empty nester. So trust me, everything that people get afraid to do on live, I've done it. I've made mistakes. I've fumbled on words. I've had tears. My makeup is like everywhere. But I just didn't care because it was just being me. And the thing about my psoriasis is I am very self-conscious. I did a live on Thursday where I started the live with my psoriasis showing. But I've learned what is the mindset that gets me to where I feel that I can conquer anything. I can take over anything. I can do this. And for me, it's just because I learned how to do makeup that it just gets me to forget that these patches are here and that I don't focus on it. I start focusing on and leaning in on my strengths, which is being able, if I have a guest like Juma, and I'm asking the question, like, tell us a little bit about yourself. When was the first time that somebody came up to you and asked you to take and capture their life moment, and how and what, and what did that do for you for the future?
It's like me for me, and
No, but that's basically like the what I'm
oh,
trying
okay,
to
okay,
say.
okay.
Like, I lean into my strengths because I stop focusing on what is holding me back.
Oh, okay, okay. I get you. I get
But
you.
we do need to know when was the first time.
Yeah, yeah. I get you. I get you. And I agree with that. I think also the issue is internal. But of course, the internal somehow is fed by the external things, like how I look, how I sound, and that whole not perceiving yourself as someone who knows their stuff and has value to add. When in fact, I've always discovered that there are things. Okay, listen, there's a guy who does beekeeping, right? And he came onto LinkedIn and he's talking about beekeeping, and I'm amazed that the guy, he's taking the combs and he's pressing it, and the honey is coming out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, look at this. And it's like a big deal for me. I mean, that he probably does that every day. But for me, it's like a massive deal. It's like, oh, this is so interesting. And that's what it's like for people, that they take for granted the value that they have because they're doing this thing every single day. But they do have value.
Hmm.
And they do have value. So it's so important. I agree with you 100%. And to overcome that is really a victory, not just for video, but for yourself in life.
Why don't we ask the audience right now, if you're catching the live right now, or if you're catching the replay, what is one reason that you are not doing video? What's stopping you? Would love to know.
Yeah. So Micaiah has his own question. He's asking, Shri, where are you from? Shri, where are you from?
Where am I
Shri.
from? My parents are from India, but I married a gentleman and we had a child. He was from Trinidad. So this is why I have Trini roots, because I even went to Trinidad. I love doubles. I love some curry chicken and some, dal puri and some bashap sat and some.
So that answers your question, Micaiah. So Shri is as far as we concern, Shri is a Trini. So she's representing cross continental representation. And Janessa saying, she's saying this, I don't know what to say, and I undervalue myself. So she's saying that. So yeah, so that's an issue. That's an issue, especially when it comes to presenting yourself to people. And also she's saying self-doubt. Another issue, and all those are kind of in the same wheelhouse. And so you have to deal with those issues. Yeah.
Vanessa is her name?
Yeah, Janessa. Actually, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, Janessa, even right now, as we are talking on this live, I have self doubt. I have no idea what I'm saying. Even though I've been doing this for so many times, I still get that sound, that voice is very loud, but I've learned to turn it down. So I hope that this message, touches you, to let you know, regardless of how many times I've done this, I still have that voice. I've just learned to say, you know what, you need to calm down and let me just lower it and let me just share what I have to share.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you gotta silence that voice. It's true. You have it comes up, and it gets worse when you are in the space with somebody who you think might be better than you or who might know more. It amplifies. It's like, oh my god.
I'm like pointing the right way, but I'm saying like,
No,
I
no,
feel
no,
that way about him.
no, this way. No, I'm not taking that. Micaiah saying, thank you, Shri. I can hear the Trini accent and I could feel the Caribbean tropical vibes. So that's good, my Kaya. Thank you so much for placing that comment as well. So okay, so let's. So I know you said spending a lot of time engaging with your community is important, and I agree that doing that is critical to building community. So recently, I was speaking to one of my friends about creating content on LinkedIn because people, even though I'm not a LinkedIn coach, people approach me all the time and ask me about that. And so I got into it as my friend. So I got into it and I told him, these strategies you could use and different things. And then at the end, I was like, yeah, so you have to engage with your community, spend like an hour and engaging with your community, sometimes more, so you can get the kind of traction you want, because that's important. And like from that point, we hit a wall, right? We hit a wall. And they were like, I'm not sure I could do that. I'm not sure I could engage, like spend time to do that. What do you do, Shri, when you get pushed back on something like that?
I say that this, regardless of what platform you're on, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, where are your leads coming in? And then two, your engagement time is an income producing activity. You engage with your community because you need to keep them aware that they are valuable to you. But then there's also going about and finding your ideal client. So many will say you have to get up, do 20. I'm like, start small and just do 5 different people per day. Just hit the follow button and then just comment on their posts. This is a reason why you do that, because now they'll start showing up. You're not asking to request to connect with them. You're just following them. And the next thing you know, you're commenting on their posts. And guess what? They will pay attention to you. And
Mm.
then they will come back and want to connect. It's a no pressure situation because people hate to be in your DMs. Like, Juma, I need to help you get more visibility. And Juma's like, I don't need that. What more can you do? Versus once we build a relationship, once we get to know each other, it's easier to have that. Oh, then they find out, oh, I really need your services. So if you have more questions, just message me and I'll go more into it. We'll have a call. But I hope that this tip helps you, because remember, if you're on social media, if you're on a live, this is your opportunity to, get your visibility. This is an activity to draw people to your profile, to your business.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Let me just add in your Instagram here so people can see. Show it in the stream. I'm gonna hide this for a little while. I'm gonna solo this. I'm just gonna scroll through. So this is Shree's Instagram. She's famous on the gram for like a million likes. Let me go to the very top. All right, I'm scrolling through. Your curation is nice, Shree.
Thank you.
So you can see how many lives is like, it's lives upon lives she's done. If we go down to the way bottom, well, it changes a little bit, but these are the things that, and this is when you celebrated your 100th life.
Yes.
Yeah, this is it right here. Yeah. How do you do? What's that?
Welcome, everybody.
He's like, you're like, welcome, 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 everybody.
Yes, that's my signature welcome, welcome. I learned everybody has an intro. So if you're trying to figure out an intro, just look. Juma has a great intro. Podcasters have intros. Watch other people's lives to get ideas of what intro to do and what would work for you.
Yeah, so you kind of like, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, yeah, roll it up a little bit, type of thing. I mean, I just tell people good morning all the time. That's So I do have a kind of an intro, I guess. Yeah, I say hello and welcome, good morning. This is that
The
sounds so normal.
energy is important too. Like, you don't want to just time be like, "Hey, everybody." Like, you, even though there are those who do meditation and do mind coach, we have our mind coaches and we have all these different coaches that don't have that, sometimes bringing the energy may not, but there's a way to open to draw in the individual. That's
Right.
the point, because people are taking 3 to 7 seconds and they're figuring out this is for them. So you have to remember that.
Yes, 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 definitely. Definitely, definitely, definitely. All right. Do you want to share anything, like any recent projects or anything that's coming up that you want to share with the community that you want them to know about Tree?
Yes, so I am putting out a course that is about going live on Instagram. Now, I understand some of you are like, I don't know about Instagram, but let me tell you, the what you learned in the course, you can apply it to any other platform. Why? Because it's not about oh, I got to do all of this. There's a lot of processes. There's step by step of how to get prepared before going on live, how to get a guest, how to come up with your strategy behind creating your live. So, and
Mm.
it's going to be coming out in a few weeks. So definitely look out for it.
Yeah, definitely. Like check Sri out on Instagram. Was it Insta? Was it Insta?
NEX You know what though? You can find if you go to my LinkedIn, every post I put how to find me on an Instagram. So I'd rather you connect with me on LinkedIn and then you can find me on Instagram. But it's NEXLEV consulting underscore
Right.
Shri.
Right. NEXLEV. Okay, so check Sri out on Instagram first, and then you could always check her out on IG afterwards. Even though she has a presence. That thing, is that it? Okay, let me hide this thing. Let me just edit this a little bit. Is that it? Update. Sure. Is that it there at the bottom?
Yes, it is. That is
That's
it.
right. That's IG right there. That's IG right there. Let me recognize um Nikisha on Nikisha Mirage on Nikisha, yeah. Am I seeing your image? Yeah, I'm seeing it on LinkedIn now. On LinkedIn, she's saying all that Shri has said is true, and she's saying tech phobia too is a big one for a challenge. Yeah, tech phobia.
I'm
Tech.
using a phone, and let me tell you, this is my phone that I do my lives on. And if you were to look at my original picture, I used a hair tie, a globe, and a jewelry box to go live.
You see, you don't need much. You don't need much. Don't need much to go like. Kanila saying good day. Gabe is saying sup Juma. What's up, Gabe? How you be? How you be. So it's great. So you don't need much to go live. Any last tips or closing tips about going live and about Instagram live or any other type of live? I know you've applied for LinkedIn Live already, right?
I do have LinkedIn Live. There's
You
a little
do?
bit. I
Oh,
do.
LinkedIn
I
Live.
did. I did do a LinkedIn Live and Facebook Live all at once. And small story, there the 9 to 5 situation. So there's some things that are holding me, but it's not going to be forever. Plus, I want to do LinkedIn Live. Like I'm
Right.
excited because I want to bring on Juma because I want to learn more about Juma. Who else doesn't want to? Who else wants to learn more about Juma? There's some emojis up. We all want to learn more about Juma. And
Couple people maybe. Hey,
when
thank
I
you, Gabe. Thank you, Gabe. Gabe says he always appreciates the content. Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate that. And so sure, yeah, when you have LinkedIn Live, when you start your like inviting people on, let me know, and
I
I'll be happy.
will,
I'll be
but
happy.
I do want to share that everybody has something of value to share. When you before you even do a video or even go on live, just remind yourself of how beautiful and how handsome you are, and just have a few things prepared. Like forget that if you're wondering where you should be looking at the camera. Like look, the camera's right here for me.
Mm.
And just go live. Who cares if you mess up? Who cares if you start crying? Just post it. You'll be surprised how many people will relate to you.
Yeah, very true, very true. Great advice, great advice. Thank you, Gail. Gabe is saying good conversations, wonderful information, amazing individuals. I agree 100%. And that's a good way to bring it in for the landing and to also tell Shri, I was supposed to say this at the start, but I'm going to say it now. I was supposed to say that Shri, you're dope. Because I asked me to say that. For the people who don't know, it just means Shri's cool. And so she has proved that by sharing all this good stuff with us and by being on the live stream here today. The community appreciates you. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for jumping on with us today. And yeah, so we could just groove out a little bit to the music slightly. Because you know that's how we do here across on the Useful Content Creation Show. This is our Saturday show. Thank you to the Useful Content community. Thank you to Micaiah and Gabe and Camille and Nakisha and Franco and Janet and Tamara and Daya and Janessa and everybody else who jumped on and said hello and shared their voices with us. I appreciate that. You can check Shree out on LinkedIn, and if you feel very ambitious, you can go across to her IG as well and check her out there. And again, we're thankful for you and we're glad to have you on. And let's just dance our way out on this Saturday. Bye, everyone.